All right, all right. All right, hello again. Welcome back. Welcome back with yours truly, your domestic violence counselor, Mr. James Horton. Welcome back, class. Hey, today's class is going to be a class that's going to cover some stuff, and it's going to be some in-depth information that I'd like to share with you, and just let you know some things you may have not known, and open you up to search for some things, and just keep your mind rolling about your environment and about yourself and about these so-called relationships that we deal with. These so-called in-depth problem relationships, domestic violence relationships, and relationships with our communities and so forth. All right, so before we get started, I would like you to subscribe to my channel. It's called Domestic Violence with the Counselor. You can see it on our posters here. Domestic Violence with the Counselor, Mr. James Horton on YouTube. I'm in need of some subscribers. I need a lot of subscribers. I need you to send this out to your friends, send it out to your associates, suggest to them to subscribe. I would appreciate that. And I'm just trying to build my channel to the highest level it could be, and I'm trying to promote the town of Oakland, right? And all the neighboring neighborhoods and cities that's close to that. All right. So in the northern side of this thing called California. All right. Now this is called the root of aggression and violence. The root of aggression and violence. The root. They mean the root. You mean down there underground, the root of it, where it comes from before it grows into a tree, a plant, a flower. Yes, the root. All right. It says the root of aggression and violence. It says, while anger is considered a normal, sometimes inevitable emotion, aggression behavior with the intent to control or dominate is a threat to individuals and to society. Angry people may want to push or punch someone. Aggressive people carry through on such impulses and become violent. Why? Why is the question. The reasons discussed in the following sections are complex, right? It says biological causes, right? We talked about that in the last video. Biological causes, trauma. It says traumatic brain injury, which can lead to violent outbursts of explosive anger, is one of the many medical factors associated with violence. As many as 70% of those who suffer head injuries report some degree of irritability or explosive rage. The use of alcohol or drugs before or after a head injury may increase the likelihood of such problems. Illnesses that affect the brain, strokes and neurologic diseases, brain tumors, infectious diseases, epilepsy, metabolic disorders such as hypothyroidism, multiple sclerosis, and systemic lupus can also lead to aggressive behavior. All right? Can also lead to aggressive behavior. Right? It says developmental factors. Right? Follow along with me. Developmental factors. Many developmental factors, children practices, parental disciplines, relationship to peers, sex roles, socialization, economic inequality, lack of opportunity, and media influence contribute to violence. Parents who reject their youngsters who are physically abusive or who have a criminal history are most likely to have children with early signs of aggressive behavior, right? Watch how you role model. Please watch how you role model. You think it's fun, the role model stuff. You think it's fun to play with guns in front of kids and hand the gun to the little 4 and 5-year-old and let them play with it. And you think that's fun, but it's not cute at all, and it's not fun. It's a serious thing, especially something can happen, Okay, it says violence in the media. The media portrayal of aggressive acts can stimulate violence. A cross burning or a grisly television murder sometimes triggers similar forms of violence. The average American youth is exposed to 40,000 deaths and hundreds of thousands of incidents of other mayhems while growing up. Researchers estimate that if television had never been invented, there would be 10,000 fewer murders, 70,000 fewer rapes, and 700,000 fewer assaults each year in the United States. All right, take that in. All right, it said, excuse me. It said guns. Almost half of all homes in the United States contain at least one firearm, which may be kept for self-defense, hunting, target shooting, or collecting. An estimated 3 to 4 million handguns are circulating in the United States. And an estimated 100,000 students carry a gun to school. In 8 states, firearms kill more people than motorcycle accidents across the country. They are quickly becoming the leading cause of traumatic brain injury and traumatic death. Each year, for each fatal shooting, there is an estimated 2.6 injuries. The price tag for treating firearm-related injuries has been estimated at $20 billion a year. 20 billion, y'all. 20 billion a year. All right? And so it says strategies for prevention. Object to joke about racism, women, rape, minorities, or nationalities, which it says watch your own anger. Watch your own anger, you guys. Talk it out, write it out, sing it out, but don't act it out. Refuse to hate, don't retaliate. Volunteer sometime at a shelter for battered women or runaway youth. Avoid conflict. It is usually worth it. Avoid conflict. It is usually not worth it to argue. Be charitable towards rude people. They don't know no better. Don't get discouraged. Hope grows the way a path grows in the country, right? As more people walk it, it turns into a road, okay? Now we're gonna get to this. It says social factors: extreme poverty, deprivation, unemployment, prejudice, discrimination, involvement with gangs, and repeated exposure to actual violence all contribute to aggressive and violent behavior. The risk of violence increases for those who can find few, if any, economic and social opportunities in mainstream society. Violence is most common among the poor, regardless of race. Most people of color, including those who grow up with poverty, discrimination, and family disruptions, do not engage in violence and are more likely to become victims of violence than white Americans, right? Isn't that interesting, right? It says domestic violence. Violence doesn't stop at the front door of American homes. According to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the most common and least reported violent crimes are attacks in which the victim and the perpetrator knew each other at the time or before the incident. 1/3 of all murders occur within the family. Physical violence may occur in 20% to 30% of all American households. Partner abuse, right? We're going to talk about partner abuse. It says every 9 seconds a woman is battered by her partner. During her lifetime, at least one of every 5 women will be assaulted by a partner or ex-partner. Domestic violence is the single most common cause of injury to women, most common than car accidents, muggings, and rapes combined, and account for 40% of female murders. The primary factor contributing to physical abuse are the degree of frustration and stress a man is under. His use of alcohol involved in up to 60% of battering cases. And rather he was raised in an abusive home, only 1 in 20 men who beat their partner is violent outside of the home. 9 in 10 refuse to admit that they have a problem. In homes where a wife is beaten, children may also be abused. The primary risk factor for domestic violence, domestic murders, are poverty and household crowding. The lower a family socioeconomic status, regardless of its social or ethnic background, the greater the risk of deadly violence. Although wives and children are often trapped in terror, wives may stay with abusive husbands because of love, financial dependence, shame and guilt, fear of being pursued, harmed, or killed. If they leave, or a sense of responsibility to their children. The increase of alcoholism and substance abuse, depression, and suicide attempts are higher in battered women than in others. All right? Now, this is interesting, y'all. And I just thought that I would bring y'all a little piece. You know, I have to keep this this educational thing, this domestic violence class going. You know, as people tend to be very turned off when they have to attend the class. They tend not to look at the good parts and the benefit that one can get from getting an education. None of us actually have read a book on how to do relationships and how to do a relationship differently than our parents did. You know, our parents didn't have books or manuscripts or anything like that to learn how to treat our partners. But I'm here to try to help you and try to open you up to keeping your hands to yourself, loving yourself. Love doesn't hurt. Like Corinthians said, the 13th chapter, in the 13th chapter of Corinthians, it talks about the love chapter. It said love doesn't hurt. Love doesn't parade itself. It seeks no evil and believes no evil. It talks about when I was a child, I acted as a child, I behaved as a child. And when we became men, and when many of you became women, we put away childish things, right? So you have to try to check that out and say, hey, am I behaving like I did when I was 6? Am I behaving like I did when I was 4, or 10, or 13, right? These kind of things are natural when you at a certain age and you're disturbed and you haven't learned how to cool yourself down, put a block of ice on your forehead, breathe, let the pressure out. You haven't learned how to meditate and let things go. You know, we haven't learned those things, but many times we're still behaving like we were children. And the Corinthians talks about when I was a child, we need to quit acting like when. We need to act like now. And that's going to be it for yours truly, the counselor, Mr. James Horton. Thank you again for attending my group.